college football transfer portal news. A lot happening, a lot in the works that is happening at the moment and in the next few weeks. Yes, it will affect Ohio State. They've been wanting changes for a while now. We'll talk about if they got the changes they wanted. What does the rest of college football think about these transfer portal changes? We'll get to that. And, of course, what Ryan Day thinks about all this. He commented on it even before it happened. Now that it has happened, news, of course, for Ohio State. We do want to encourage you guys to subscribe right now. You can see we've got our game previews going on, our daily videos going on, our watch parties, and now news like this happening. We keep you up to date. Be sure to subscribe to the Ohio State Football Report. A committee within the NCAA Division I administration meeting to talk about the transfer portal. A lot to digest here. A lot to talk about here. There's a lot of things at work with college football as it changes year to year right now with NIL and the transfer portal. We got news that they are getting rid of the spring transfer portal. Yes, you had your winter and your spring transfer portal, which is now easier for players to find a new home in college football. Well, NCAA has decided that 2 not going to be what they want to do into the future, so they're going back to 1. But there's a lot to talk about within this, right? This is just step 1 in the process, deciding that there is no more spring transfer portal. Tons and tons to consider to go along with this. I kind of think about the academic calendar. Teams having to keep an eye on when they actually start school. Students having to decide if they make their decision by the time school's out or the next semester has begun. You think about when a coach is fired, the 30-day transfer portal that opens up when that happened. That's a difference maker there. And then, of course, they're not set yet on a date within that winter transfer portal. So there's a lot of decisions that will come with this change. Yes, you're down to 1 transfer portal date, but you don't know the exact dates yet, and you have to consider all the things attached to it. So before we talk more about the Buckeyes effect there, all the things happening for the Big Ten and Ohio State, I thought it'd be interesting to go around college football and gauge that a little bit. We got an SEC quote to talk a little bit about the effects that would go along with this. This is an anonymous SEC GM talking about it here. Let's say we agree to deal with player A and get a signed agreement, but because of the calendar, he doesn't report to school for 20 more days. On day 16, school X calls because they missed on players B and C and offer him more because they are desperate. We're now back to square one with player A, and they hold all the leverage to renegotiate. That's not sustainable. You look at the 2 proposed dates right now, the 2 dates being considered for this transfer portal window. And again, a lot of this goes with the academic calendar, right? And the different schools, times they start, times they have to make these decisions. It all plays into recruiting. Really, really difficult to deal with. I myself have spent a ton of time over the past month trying to keep up with these dates, the effects they have at all schools, Big Ten, SEC, all around college football. These are the 2 dates being considered. And of course, yes, they are being placed in the middle of the college football playoff. As the season winds down, you go into the postseason. Transfer portal dates are set, and guys are changing schools while the playoffs are still going on. We've seen Ohio State deal with this over the past few years. Not only are they trying to get players during these dates, but they are seeing their own players kind of have an issue. Like you look at Devin Brown last year. Thankfully, he decided to stay just in case because he was the backup, but he had to find a school in the middle of the playoffs. And that's where Ohio State got lucky with Devin Brown staying. Aaron Noland also staying during that point in time. So they kind of lucked out with that. But these are the 2 dates being considered right now by the NCAA. And again, either way, it looks like it's going to fall during the playoffs, be a big part of that playoff run, that guys are changing schools while 12-ish teams are still playing college football. While we're talking about this, you may think to yourself, transfer portal, it's bigger and more important than ever. Let's show a little love. Like this video if you've got a transfer player that you've seen on the Buckeyes that you really, really like. Like to show those guys some love. Let them know how important and kind of love they are within the Ohio State fan base a little bit. I think we see those guys making the difference more and more over the past few years, whether it be a guy like Caleb Downs, whether it be a guy like C.J. Donaldson, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Look, we're going to talk about the cons a lot, I think, for Ohio State just because of the playoff aspect of it. But there are some pros to this. There are some things with this one portal window that can be good, that can be a good thing to deal with and have some positives to it. We will get into those pros and cons in just a second. But first, I want to let you guys know this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. My favorite part of Prize Picks is it's simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you wanted to go more on Josh Allen pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Little Thursday night football action for you. Take a look here. Devontae Adams, more on the rushing or receiving touchdowns. I love that both are included there. Matt Stafford over 233.5 passing yards. He's looked good this season. And more for Christian McCaffrey. They got to go with Mac Jones again, so you'll see a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Those are his receiving yards, 48.5. Also want to note to you guys, you can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app. You can also copy their lineups with just one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone who picks just like you hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, let's start with my pros for the one transfer portal situation during the winter. That's it. It's the one. You got the one window. Get it out of the way. All the transfers have happened. Everybody's made their decisions, and you move on. You kind of have that aftermath in the spring, those leftovers, those side guys that maybe they want to try something. I think you also had the guys that tried the transfer portal, didn't work out, and then they came back to Ohio State or came back to their school, which I did not like at all. If you hit the transfer portal, I think that means you're done with your school and you need to find a new one. And with this new one transfer portal window in the winter, whatever date is voted on by the administration committee, that's it. Coaches can make that decision, make their pitches, get their guys or not get their guys, and move on about their business. I actually think that's a good thing for a lot of programs and a lot of coaches. One and done, make your decisions, players make your decisions, and move forward. However, the biggest con, the con overlying over all this, obviously, is it's happening during the college football playoffs. Ryan Day is scheming for Notre Dame while these transfers are happening. He's scheming for Oregon. He's scheming for Texas. He's having to figure things out. Meanwhile, he's got kids coming to him saying, I want to come to Ohio State. He's got to watch film on them. Vice versa, he's got players saying they want to leave. Maybe he's trying to convince them to stay. Maybe he's just trying to fill their spot. There's a lot of chaos within the college football playoffs alone. Now you add in the idea of guys wanting to transfer in and out. Ridiculous. Really, really tough to deal with. And I know a lot of people will say, why can't they just move it to after? Guys want to be a part of spring ball. They want to take part in spring ball for their program. It all has to kind of get done and get moving immediately. You hear these coaches talk about when the season is done, they immediately get like a day or two, and then they shift in to their mode for spring practice, spring ball, and moving forward. Want to give you guys some dates to know here. Early signing day, that's when the high schoolers make their decision, sign, get things going in that process. Also important, conference championship, December 6th. College football playoff, that's the date we're kind of hammering home, talking a lot about in that stretch. That's where that transfer portal window is currently sitting and looks to sit once again. Obviously, you see the proposed portal window January 2nd through the 16th. And look, it's going to be in that area no matter what, and I think it's going to be during the college football playoff no matter what. So grabbing these dates, understanding these dates, and knowing what they are going forward, going to be pretty important in the ever-changing world of college football. Back to the transfers. Want to see who your favorite transfer player is for Ohio State this season. CJ Donaldson getting some carries, getting some touchdowns. You can type CJ. This will be our pinned poll question for you guys here. Max Clare can type MK if you like what the tight end's doing. Or Philip Daniels, the former Minnesota Golden Gopher, going for a big game this Saturday, transferred over, playing some physical ball at right tackle. You can type PD if it's Philip Daniels. Let us know down in the comments section below. Look, I think we can all agree this just isn't good for Ohio State. None of us like it. We don't like the timing of it. I don't think it benefits Ohio State in any sort of way. Haven't liked it from the beginning. Couldn't understand it from the beginning. Coming to terms with it, coming to grips with it, which I'll get into that more in just a second. But I know a lot of people kind of wonder what Ryan Day thought about it, and he was asked about it when the initial change was proposed. Now that it's happened, we go back and look at that quote. No, I don't think it's a good idea at all. The conversations had with the Big Ten coaches, I think the majority of them agree. I just don't quite understand how teams that are playing in the playoffs are expected to make the decisions and sign their upcoming players while they're still getting ready to play games. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like we said earlier, so you have that spring window. If players had to wait for that, they miss out on spring ball. They miss out on that acclimation to campus and whatnot. So that's kind of why that idea is axed and gone. I think a lot of players kind of felt the toughness of being a part of that process. For the winter window, as I said, you're dealing with the college football playoff. That's kind of the tough part of it. However, I do think there is a gray area offering a solution just after the playoff, right? That week, that 2 weeks just after the playoff to get those guys moving. I think there's still some difficulty there, but I think it's better than what you're proposing right now. Again, this year at least, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. What I will say about it for Ohio State at this point in time, just the price of being number one, right? The transfer portal, I think, honestly, is built for struggling teams that aren't on that college football playoff level to find new homes or to add on to that. So I don't think it's necessarily in favor of Ohio State or teams like Ohio State, and I don't think it ever will be. I don't think that's what the transfer portal is built for. I think they can say, it's for players to find new homes and build new careers. I do think it's for teams to get better. That's always been my personal opinions for college football to get more interesting. I don't think it's built for an Ohio State fully. You can disagree with me on that. I know a lot of people have their opinions of what the portal actually is. Now, for the Buckeyes, they've managed fine so far, right? Not only have they convinced guys like Devin Brown to not transfer quickly, ride it out with them, and stay with them during the college football playoff, they've still convinced a C.J. Donaldson, a Max Clare, and some other players to come over to Ohio State, even with the college football playoff going on, even with maybe having to hold their decision. I will say this about the Buckeyes. All the changes in college football, whether it be NIL, whether it be the transfer portal, they have managed to be top of the hill with these type of things, figure out their way, and make sure that their program continues forward positively, even when things change in college football. The Buckeyes still staying on top.